All right, ladies and gentlemen, it
Right?
is an absolute honour to welcome to the Idea Hub stage a distinguished leader in the legal and fintech realms, Mrs. Kokila Alagh. As the founder of KARM Legal Consulting and a respected board member of the Mena Fintech Association, Mrs. Alagh brings a wealth of expertise and insight into today's session. She will be hosting a workshop specifically tailored for startups and entrepreneurs, offering invaluable experience on both general business strategies and legal advice. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Mrs. Kokila Alagh.
All right. How many of you for the first time in UAE? Amazing. Welcome to UAE. Welcome to the land of opportunities. I came here 22 years back, fresh out of law school, thinking I'm going to be here for a year or two, and in the Gulf, how you make a lot of money, and then I'm going to leave. Long story short, this is home. This is where I have seen businesses, startups, law grow overnight. You know, when we talk about overnight success matched with law and regulatory space, there is no other place than UAE what offers you all these opportunities. You have great events like this. IFX Expo I have seen in the last 3 years, and I've seen what phenomenal job they've done and how they're growing. And it's largely because we have people like you who either are coming to UAE for the first time or keep coming back here because of the great opportunities this place offers. And one of the major factors that we have here is the legal and regulatory clarity and the vision of the government to say that we want to be the tech, we want to be the fintech hub of the world. We just don't want to be a pretty city. We just don't want to be a trader's hub. We just don't want to be the one flaunting Burj Khalifa and Burj Al Arab and talking about the huge, beautiful deserts we have. But we want to talk about what we're growing here to make sure the businesses grow up really well. So I'm one of those who've seen the laws change from the time when the businesses were owned either only by UAE nationals or UAE nationals had to be 51% minimum shareholder in your company, to the place where expats like you, me, and most of us over here can not only own our businesses, repatriate all that money, become the unicorn that most of the startups here want to be, and be completely clear that the legal and the regulatory framework completely supports you. Until about last year, we could say that we are a tax haven, which we're not anymore. As you all know, taxation's been introduced. But let's talk about how our taxation is still a lot better when you compare it to the rest of the world. So today what I'm going to do, we've got about an hour. I'm going to talk about these slides for 30 minutes. 30 minutes I'm standing here, ask as many legal questions. This doesn't happen very often where a lawyer stands and says, ask me free legal advice, but today I will do it for this event. Yeah. So let's talk about, are you a startup, are you an entrepreneur, or you're a global player who wants to come to UAE? What are the main things that you need to look at? So we've split it into two. What if you want to set up a business in Dubai? You could be, as I said, a startup. You could be a freelancer. You could be a couple of friends. You could be a large international company that wants to come here. What are the things that you need to keep in mind? And then what is the taxation new service that UAE is doing now? So firstly, we should know that we are a union. We're a union of 7 emirates. It takes 7 states to make United Arab Emirates. Everybody thinks Dubai is Abu Dhabi, and Abu Dhabi and Dubai are the 2 main emirates. We are, but then you have to see the other emirates also. And recently, Ras Al Khaimah is making a lot of noise with our first physical casino coming there. So you see a progressive government, you see progressive regulations across the UAE. So it's not just these 2 emirates, but all other emirates that work together and make this a great nation to be. Yeah. Every emirate, so we have the federal authority, like every other country in the world. We have the federal authority, the federal ministry, and then every emirate has its own authorities, has its own agencies. So like how you to come here, you deal with Dubai Tourism or the Dubai Economic Department, and especially the organizers would know how those permissions work. You have it for each emirate. You have it for Abu Dhabi, you have for Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah, Al Quwain, Fujairah, Ajman, all of these. So one has to be mindful that we have a federal authority, and then each state also has its own authorities and ministries working together. And then, as I said, 20 years back, laws were different. You had to be very careful that what is mainland UAE and what is a free trade zone. Free trade zones, as you mostly know, are the places where one can freely trade and set up a company. You get tax rebates, you get ownership rebates from the government. On the similar concept, free trade zones were established here in 1996. Jabal Ali Free Zone was one of the first free trade zones that was established. And at that time, the major differentiation was on mainland, only UAE nationals or UAE nationals in a partnership with expats could own company, and free trade zones only had expats owning the companies. The laws got changed, it has worked a lot, and now for the last 3 years, that law has been repealed. All expats can own companies here 100% in their name. There are still a very few sections, around 7 of those, which again need the involvement of UAE nationals. Rest expats can own it. So every emirate has its own free zones. So just to give you an example, the area where you are, this is Dubai World Trade Center. Now Dubai World Trade Center also has created its own free zone. It's called the Dubai World Trade Center Free Zone. So you again as expats can directly open the company there and not in the mainland. And then just across the road from here you have DIFC. DIFC is Dubai International Financial Center, which is a financial free zone, and we'll talk about that because most of you here are fintech, so you need to understand the fintech regulations a little more deeper. And similar to DIFC, Abu Dhabi has a financial free zone by the name of ADGM, Abu Dhabi Global Market. One of the main differences between all other free zones and these two financial free zones is that UAE essentially is a civil law country. We follow the principles of civil law and all the laws are based on that. However, ADGM and DIFC are based on common law principles. What it does is that when you are a private bank, you are a trading company, you're a finance company, you want to be in the global space. And that global space works better when it's based on common law principles. So with that kept in mind, 2004 we saw the setup of DIFC came into picture, and then followed by ADGM couple of years later. So just to understand that free zones and financial free zones are different. And just like every other authority or every other agency that is set up, each free zone has its own regulations, it has its own commercial framework, but they're all in line with the commercial companies law of UAE. So a lot of time we get clients who come and say, oh, I don't know if I should be in Medan free zone, if I should be in DWTC free zone. You could be in any of the free zones depending on what type of business do you do. Interestingly, now when you want to set up a company, like everywhere else, we have different types of companies, different types of licenses that you can set up here in UAE. So under the commercial companies law of UAE, your mainland license, as we said that we still have a difference between what are mainland companies and what free zone licenses and what financial free zone licenses are. This is not complicated, it's just that one needs to be aware. Yeah. So you have professional license. So people like me, professional consultants like law firms, or if you are say an investment consultant or a finance consultant, you could go and apply for a professional license. If you're a company, say if you are a trading company or you are a brokerage company, it will be broadly under the commercial license. Setting up a factory and manufacturing unit here, you need to apply for industrial license. And if you want to promote Dubai, please be our guest and open a tourism license. And now we also have a huge demand for e-commerce license. And so much so, I don't know how many of you are aware, Dubai also has a free zone that has been specifically set up for e-commerce companies called Dubai Commerce City. And in Dubai Commerce City, again, it's the government's push to promote all e-commerce companies to work from one common place. It provides you great logistics support. It's next to the airport. You get all your customs and everything clearance done there. So this is where UAE makes you to run your business very smoothly. So when a free zone is conceptualized, it is not just talking about framework and law. It is making sure that you as a business have everything that you need for your business at one spot. This is the biggest drive that the Dubai or UAE government has been doing for all businesses. And then we have the free zone licenses. Why? And offshore licenses. I remember in 2004, 2005 when I was here, Jebel Ali had just started offshore licenses, and that was the most popular vehicle anybody wanted to set up here, because we were a tax haven country. Everybody wanted to issue invoices from here, use the services of our ports, mainly the Jebel Ali port, and then do business with the rest of the world. So from there to come to a point where offshore licenses are not very popular anymore, but then we see more and more free zone licenses and mainland licenses being the one for which people come to Dubai, because trust me, majority of you who are here visiting would like to live here. It's very important for you to know where do you want to do your business from. So picking a jurisdiction becomes extremely important. And these are again the different types of legal entities that one can set up. So you could be a general partnership, you could be a limited partnership, a limited liability company, single owner limited liability companies. Some of these companies' options under the law did not exist when I came here. And we've seen that how the government has taken the feedback and made sure they add these activities and these different types of licenses to make it easier for people to do business. The most common form that you will see will be a limited liability company. Like globally, LLCs are the most popular structure to run businesses. And again, in free zones, you might find a different nomenclature. Instead of calling it a company, if it's just a single shareholder, the free zones could use a nomenclature of calling it a free zone establishment and not calling it a free zone company. Company, by most of the free zones clarity, it needs to have at least 2 or more partners. Then you have the public limited companies, private limited liability companies, or you could be a branch of a local or a foreign company. Now, branch is a very interesting concept for us to read, because when we have global players who want to come and set up here, they often ask us that, oh, I'm just a branch. Can I just set up my office here and start onboarding people from here? One has to understand what a branch can do and cannot do. And also the difference between, are you just a representing office that you want to be here in events, marketing and promoting your company, or do you actually want to sit here, book your trade from here, book your finances from here, do the operations from here? So one has to really think through what do you want to do here before you go ahead and open a company. This is mainly talking about what is the main difference between a free zone company, a mainland company, and offshore company. Some of these, as I said, at one point, these foreign investors can have 100% ownership of all companies, was the main difference between these. But now, as we saw the law getting amended, in fact, it was completely repealed in 2022, we see that this does not make much impact now, because I could be a Dubai company and be 100% owner of it as an expat. The interesting points are also an emiratization. So like any other country, the government here wants to promote and protect its own citizens. So there is a requirement when you become of a certain size, say you are more than 20 or 25 employees in a certain business, there is a requirement by law for you to start hiring and giving employment to UAE nationals. And again, we just talked about what are the different forms. And as I said, every emirate, like there was a time when I could not even keep a track of how many free zones we have in UAE. We had like more than 52 within Dubai. Then we saw a consolidation drive that happened. Some of the free zones merged their services. And now we have free zones. One interesting fact that you should know about these free zones is every free zone is for a specific business category. So when in 2004 we started with what is now called, okay, I don't know what it's called because the names change too much, but TCOM area, we had around 6 different free zones offering services to companies of that similar nature. So you had Dubai Media City, Dubai Internet City, Dubai Media Production Zone, Dubai Studio City, Dubai all these. So by the name itself, you could see that if you're a media house, you wanted an office in Dubai Media City. Again, it made easier for those companies to be there because all their service providers were also at the same place. The application process, whatever a media company would need, the permissions, the approvals, all could be done at one government window, and you did not have to go to different place. This was the main idea by which these free zones were conceptualized. And Dubai has maintained that, UAE has maintained that. Other Emirates not as much, but Dubai and Abu Dhabi for sure. Like we have free zones for, especially now we have for gaming. Abu Dhabi gaming free zone has been set up where all the gaming companies are encouraged. They have the incentives from the government. They have the support that you would need as a gaming company to come set up shop here. And not only set up business here, but how do you even scale it up? So again, there is still the Dubai Multi-Commodity Center, which is very interesting story because Dubai essentially is a trader's hub. This is where most of the ports are. So it made sense for a lot of traders to move here. And then we saw it was traders not only for goods, then traders for gems, traders for a lot of commodities also wanted to move here for gold, diamond, coffee. So Dubai's government came up with Dubai Multi-Commodity Center, and it became one of the most popular free zones of Dubai, and it attracted a lot of brokers, and especially those who wanted to understand and get the benefits of the tax rebates that the government had at that point, or even today. So essentially, every free zone you will see by the name, other than the new ones like Maidan, Dubai World Trade Center, the others have a specific sector to which they are targeting. Now, most of the countries in the world say, I can set up a company online paying 50 Singapore dollars, 50 US dollars, 50 pounds, and a company is set up in 2 hours. UAE, that's not the case. Mainly because it's very essential for you to know what your business activity is going to be. So it means I want to start a business in Dubai. I cannot just set up a company and decide after a month, 2 months, and figure out what this company will do. So if you want to set up a company in UAE, you need to know from day one what your business plan is going to be, what the main objective of this company is going to be. If I am going to be a financial brokerage firm, I need to know that from day one. If I want to be trading shoes and garments, you need to decide that business today. Mainly because the trade license of the company itself will have the details about your business. The activity for which you want to be here in UAE needs to be there on the trade license. So that is a must, and that makes it different from a lot of other places. And sometimes we get feedback from the clients and saying, oh, it's so easy to set up company anywhere else. Why in UAE takes so much time? So by so much time, we mean 3 to 5 days. Important business activity, there is no compromise on it. So you need to know, be very clear what your business is going to be. Some of the free zones, in fact, ask you to submit business plan to show how you're going to do your financials, how you're going to do your marketing, what's the opportunity that you see over here. Then only you're allowed that this activity is approved and you can set up your business here. And again, as I said, most of the free zones had or still have focus on certain sectors. So if you are a finance company, and then again in finance we need to understand, are we a traditional finance company? Are we a new age virtual assets finance company? Then we need to understand which regulator that you need to work with. So that clarity of business and thought is a must for you to start business here. You need to have business name. Most of the free zones and economic departments still go by and they'll ask you, give me 3 options what you want your name of your company to be. And by the priority order, they decide and approve what the name of that company would be. Every company needs to have an office space. There are what we say companies who have virtual desk, but then there is still an element of a virtual desk. So you need to, majority of the businesses here, and especially if you are in the finance sector, there would be hardly a free zone or on mainland where you will be allowed to set up a company without having a proper physical presence here. You need to have a lease. So this is where these free zones come in handy, because they can offer you business center desk. They can offer you, okay, share a desk for say 20 hours in a week, but still you will have a designated address in Dubai. And that's important for you, even because for when you go for your house lease or you go for your personal bank accounts or the company's bank accounts, you need that lease, you need this address here in UAE. Initial approval. So all this process that you see on top, sometimes in some of the free zones, it's online and it could take only 10 minutes. Sometimes it is a submission you submit in the morning. Most of the free zones or most of the authorities do get back to you within 24 to 48 hours, unless you need a special approval, and we will talk about that later. So it could be a 5 minutes to a maximum 2 days, or a special approval required. You get the initial approval, and then you get your business license. As I said, business license will have the details about the name of the shareholder, the name of the manager, the address, name of the company. So all that information that you would need of a company is available on that. Why this is important? Because we so often get due diligence requests where people will show us some other documents, and then we have to go back and remind them there is a business license where all this information is just on one document. And then most of you, as I said, who are visiting or are looking at coming to Dubai, you need to apply for your residence visa. And then those are the different options. You could be, if you're an owner of a business, then there is an investor visa. If you are a manager or you're an employee of a company, then those are the employment visas. And those again are subsequent to your company being set up in UAE. It cannot be before that. Unless you're going for an investment visa or a golden visa, which the government is promoting for exceptional professionals who bring their expertise to UAE, or those who are doing large investments in UAE. Then your Emirates ID is issued, and that, like your any other national ID that you have in any country, is what you would need, and you need to keep it with you at all times. Open bank accounts. So most of our clients come and tell us it's taken us forever to do a bank account. Now that is a global scenario. If banks were so efficient, we would not be having a large fintech growth that we see mostly globally happening. And then now comes what is so new in UAE's corporate tax registration. We did not have any sort of taxation other than VAT, which was introduced 6 years back, and now we have the corporate tax. So now it's essential for every company, every business that gets registered in UAE to do a corporate tax registration. Now, as I was saying, that every company needs to have its own business, its own objective. Certain business activities require additional permits. So if you're a fintech and you're looking at doing, say, payment acquiring services, merchant acquiring services, or any sort of fintech service that you want to do, you need to apply for a financial regulated license. Now, this is where takes us back to the discussion, what makes ADGM and DIFC different from other free zones. ADGM and DIFC are essentially your financial free zones. So if you're looking at getting any sort of fintech license or any sort of financial regulated license, one can go to DIFC depending on what business market are you targeting, what currency you want to target, and what's your expansion plans here in UAE, and how comfortable you are with UAE civil law or common law. All these factors need to be kept in mind before one decides on which regulator will be the regulator who's gonna be regulating me and where I grow my business from. Same, we have the Central Bank of UAE. So a lot of these fintech licenses are under the purview and under the supervision of the Central Bank of UAE. And then likewise, we have for other sectors. So if you're a health tech company, when we get clients in that space, then you have to go to different authorities. So like if it's in Dubai, it could be under the Dubai Health Authority. It could also be under a free zone called the Dubai Healthcare City, which has its own regulations and an authority which works under the guidance of the Ministry of Health and Prevention and also Dubai Health Authority. So as I said, every sector, every business has a different authority, regulator looking at the business. So this is one place where you will see government equally involved in every business. That's why you see too many changes, and that's why you see too much progress over here, is because it's not a blanket, you go ahead and set up your company and do whatever you want. No, from day one, you need to be very clear and get those permissions sorted. And, and I missed on virtual assets. If you're a virtual asset service provider, a VASP, then your options are, we have the framework from a newly established regulator called VARA, Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority in the Emirate of Dubai. You could apply for a license to the federal authority under ESCA on a certain categories, which is the Securities and Commodities Authority. And then you have ADGM, DIFC, Central Bank of UAE. So we have too many regulators and authorities here to promote and support your business. So this is what I mainly talked about, that certain business activity which qualify as financial services are regulated by specific regulatory authorities. Central Bank of UAE being the main supervisory and regulatory authority for all banking and financial services across UAE. It's the federal authority. So we do sometimes get clients who are saying, but I am going to be offering this service from Ras Al Khaimah. Do I still need to apply for a CBUA license? Yes, you do. If you're even partnering up with the bank and you could be using the banking channels of the regulated entity of CBUA, there are still certain products for which you will still need to go and apply for this license. So what is most important is for you to do your homework, do the assessment that which regulator do I need to work with, especially in the financial services. And Securities and Commodities Authority for any sort of issuance, listing, any sorts of IPOs, capital markets, commodities, everything is under ESCA. And then as I was talking about, we have a new baby regulator, the Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority, which has made a lot of noise around the world because this is the first bespoke regulator being set up only for virtual assets. And this is in the Emirate of Dubai. And once you get licensed or regulated by this regulator, you could be working in the Emirate of Dubai or with the rest of the world. It's in Dubai, but it does not cover DIFC because DIFC, as I said, that it's a different financial free zone, has its own laws and regulations. And then you have, as we have the Financial Service Regulatory Authority, which is in ADGM. So ADGM is, as we said, is a financial free zone out of Abu Dhabi, and the regulator there is FSRA. Now we come to the most important. What is business taxation in UAE? It's still a new topic. Interestingly, one fact about me, because I've never worked anywhere else in the world other than in Dubai, I'm gonna pay a corporate tax for the first time. So I don't know about you guys, I'm pretty excited how it actually works. I've heard about the horror stories. I come from India where people talk about, oh, half my money goes in taxation. That's not gonna be the case here, but let's see how it's gonna progress out here. So we have a federal tax system. We have a federal taxation authority that has been set up, and all 7 emirates come under that. There are still, however, 3 exemptions which have been left, which will not be under the taxation. And when we talked about these categories, I still remember when my tax consultant was advising, he did not use the expression of extraction of natural resources. He said mining will not be taxed. And straight away, because I work in the virtual asset space, and I asked him, oh, so are you telling me if I open a crypto mine here, I will not be taxed? He said, no, we're talking about mining, which is extraction of natural resources, is one of the exception or exempted categories under the taxation laws. We do not have any sort of personal income tax. Whatever you earn, whatever your gains, whatever your salary, your investment income, there is no taxation on that. Now, interestingly, businesses registered in free trade zone also come under this exemption. And this becomes a little tricky for one to understand that, oh, so if I am in a free trade zone, I do not have the taxation on my company? No. The clarity comes in that you should not be doing any business in mainland UAE for you to qualify for that exemption. So you could open a company in DMCC or any other free zone, do business with the rest of the world, not anywhere in UAE, then you apply for an exemption. So then you are subject to a 0% tax bracket. However, the annual filing of your tax or your return filings is a must for everybody. So you file it and then you ask for an exemption if you are under those three categories that we talked about. Businesses which have offices in mainland Dubai or mainland UAE and free trade zone, as well as those who are in a dual license scheme, will have to understand their operating model. So mainly what we are now trying to say is that not only you need good lawyers and professional service consultants to tell you what business should you do, how do you set it up here, it's mandatory for you to make sure that you now start taking taxation advice also. And which is what I'm saying, that in my 20 years plus, this is the first time I'm telling all clients that not only a legal advice, you need a tax consultant also to start working with you. So that makes it very different from the Dubai that it was, or UAE it was 20 years back, to where we are. Yes, I think we've covered it all. And as I said, we will talk about 30 minutes, the next 28 minutes that we have. If you have any questions, anything you would like to discuss, I'm here, happy to answer it.
Yeah, hello ma'am. Guru Kiran this side, and I have come from Bengaluru, India. My question is, I am a full-time trader in India. I've been trading full-time in Indian markets. Now I want to explore the forex market. So I've been doing my research wherein, one of the option is to incorporate a company here in Dubai and then start trading. My intention is to trade forex with my own funds. So how to go about it? Because what kind of business activity do I need to show?
So and I was actually seeing that a lot of companies here are doing prop trading. Yes, again in prop trading, very, very simple and clear threshold to be maintained is that it's your own money. You're doing it only on your capital. You're not earning a brokerage from doing it for someone else. So why you're not a broker dealer? Why you do not need to go for a regulated license under say ESCA or under DIFC or ADJM is because you're playing with your own money. So if you go to the website of Dubai Economic Department, you will see that different licenses have different description. So if you do the search on that I'm a prop trader, you will get all this information. Or you come to a lawyer like us.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for your presentation. My name's Jacob. I'm actually in a startup that actually works in the travel tech industry. We do hotel bookings and directly connect hotels to the underlying users, say travel agents or people on WeChat, for example. So I'm a little bit confused in terms of all the different licensing, and like we are a systems company that have clients that are hotels that could sit in UAE. So if we're talking about trading free zones, and I can only trade within the free zones but not in mainland, but my clients are outside of that, am I liable for all the restrictions or regulations in the mainland as well? On top of that, I'm a systems company, but essentially I'm also kind of in the tourism industry. So am I liable for the tourism licensing, and also because we facilitate the banking activities and the cross-border payments, am I also then liable for all the financial licensing as well? So if you can, maybe an offline conversation, but
Of course. But
Yeah.
no, but thank you so much for this. So this is typically how when we get queries, we ask them to segregate their business. So I'm a tech service provider because my API has been used and connected by all these travel and tourism companies. I can do the bookings on their behalf. Then the next question is going to be, when the booking is done, is it you who's booking it on your app, or you directing it directly to the tourism company? So just to continue, so
Yeah, okay.
the activity of the company or the business that you will do will depend on the fine details of how you're going to conduct your business. When you say you help them with the banking or with the cross border, we need to be very mindful in understanding, am I triggering any of the financial regulations? Am I being seen as somebody who's operating like a wallet service? Then we need to understand, again, getting into, is it a closed loop wallet? Is it just for this ecosystem, or am I stepping out of it? This is why we say that you need to be very careful of how you plan your business and how do you run it. Going back to the free trade zones and the mainland, now we do not see, as I said, I have seen it in 22 years, I do not see it any more different that you could be a free zone company and you're offering your services here in UAE. It's different if you were a traditional trader. Say if you were a Swarovski and you had a large warehouse in Jebel Ali and you had retail stores here, it's a different story for them. But then for professional services like yourself, it's going to be different because you could be working across the world, including UAE, offering those services. Now that's something that has changed over the years, and we see that how it is now very easy for a company to come set it up in a free zone and offering its services across. But happy to discuss more on the licensing.
Good afternoon. My name is Tigran. I am founder of Magnus Investors. We offer investment management services, and we are registered with ASIC, Australian Securities and Investment Commission. Our main clients are from Australia and the United States. But currently, I want, as the founder of company, I want to establish our presence in Dubai as well, specifically in Dubai, but in UAE. And my question to you is, what kind of specific license I need to apply for to attract, also to accept investments from not only high net worth individuals from UAE who want to invest with our company, but also in the future, one of my goals is to create an application that every single individual from UAE can use the application, invest, even starting from small amounts of money. So I need a license that can allow me to proceed with those business operations in UAE. Thank you.
Amazing. So this is typically what we would say, that you need to be planning it really well in understanding that, do I want to go to a retail investor, a retail user from day one, or is this something that I would like to do it over the years? And if I'm going to start my business by just doing advisory services or investment advisory, or taking investments from high net worth individuals, from professional investors, qualified investors, then my license category is different. So this is where it is important for you to be knowing what is it that I'm going to do here, what in 5 years I want to do here. Because more often than not, we get clients like yourself who would want to do something like this from day one. And when we walk them through the regulatory process, the cost involved, the time involved in it, we often see that they change the business plan or modify it and say, let me start with something that I can go to market, say, in 4 to 5 months, because it could be largely what you described, could be a financial service that you are offering here in UAE. And if that's the case, one of the financial regulators would become the regulatory authority you would have to apply to for your license, depending in depth what your business is going to be. And from there, if you want to go for a retail service provider, that license requirement goes bigger and bigger. So we see like mostly startups then planning it out really well. And happy to discuss this. Yeah.
I see. For the first 1 and 2 years, my goal is to deal with the clients with high net worth individuals from UAE,
Yeah.
and I want to open a business in the IFC zone.
Yeah, happy to have a chat with you separately.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Always puts me in the spot. Lovely seeing you as well. Good seeing you. As Kokila mentioned, we started off like almost 8.5 years ago. The Mena Fintech Association, amongst the top 4 fintech bodies today globally, 26,000 plus members. Some of the biggest names work with us. All regulators, all the way from Morocco, all the way to Oman, anything in the middle, they work with us. And we have different working groups as well. And the idea of the association is to ensure that the environment for fintechs is conducive. Experts like Kokila, Samir, and many others who have been working to ensure that we are there to provide support and to ensure that if you're looking to start your journey in the Middle East, it is in the North African region as well, it is not just that you come in and you start your business tomorrow. There's a lot of other complications that you have to keep in consideration, which includes not just coming into the country. As Kokila mentioned, it's a complete list of things that you have to conduct, and on top of that, also understand regulations, which is very critical. So please feel free to reach out to the association. You have Kokila over here. Please feel free to engage and get your questions sorted. Thank you, Kokila.
Thank you, Naveen. Right. Good. Yes.
I think there was some really good information there, some really, nuggets for anyone who's wanting to start up here in the UAE, right?
Thank you.
If anybody has any more questions? No? All right. Well, thank you so
Thank you.
much for such a wonderful workshop. And
Thank you.
anyone wants to speak with Kalika afterwards, please grab her and use her knowledge.